missed. All right, here we go into game number one here in the semifinals. This is going to be a best of three, and at the bottom left here on Zelda Caverns, we have the pretty purple Protoss. We have WhiteRa, obviously not the WhiteRa that all of you are probably familiar with, but if it is, well, awesome.
Hey,
Thanks for
your
playing in our
mic is
tournament,
like
dude.
all.
Wait, something's wrong with my mic?
Oh, it was like little, like there's a little bit of reverb.
A little bit of reverb.
Time. There it is.
Okay,
There it is.
cool. Sorry about that, everyone.
All set.
At the top right, we have Blizzopticon, probably one of the coolest names I've ever heard in my whole life, as spawning as the red Zerg up here at the top right. Um, we have some people saying proxy car alarm. Um, the more stuff you can talk about StarCraft-related car alarms would be hilarious. Alright, so we have a PvZ here on Zelnaga Caverns. Thankfully, we haven't seen a single mirror matchup tonight. Normally, we see basically just all mirror matchups for some reason. But thankfully, not this time. Again, we're getting close.
French versus the French.
French versus
the car alarm.
French versus the car alarm.
Well, it's more like French wannabe people versus French police.
Yeah, he did. I think what he was trying to ask me was if I had a 3G device, and you know what? I'm kind of paranoid about things. No, I'm actually not paranoid about the fact that they can track me via 3G. I actually didn't know what he was saying for the first while. Anyway, he wanted to locate me, but I think just giving my address is just as friggin' easy as him tracking me by GPS. But anyway,
Yeah.
we do have a fast hatch here going down at, I guess that was 16 or 15.
15. I guess it was 16, but
Yeah.
it's a 15.
I never know how that works. Like, is it
Well,
the food count
it's
before or after the drone disappears into a
before.
pile
It's
of goo?
16 hatch, 15 gas, 14 pool. Means you do gas, or you have 16 food, then you make a hatchery. That brings you down to 15 food, then you make pool. That brings you down to 14 food, then you make gas. Then you can do like 16 hatch, 15 pool, 15 gas, and that's fine too. And that's what he did. That's what Blizzopticon did.
Gotcha. I can still hear that fucking car alarm through my headset. I jacked up the volume a little bit, but regardless.
It's times like these, I'm a little bit dismayed to note that I have surround sound on my headphones.
Why?
Because I can hear that car alarm in full 7.1 Dolby surround.
You know what? The owner of that Honda Civic, I think it was a four-door Civic, has no idea that the world can hear his car alarm.
Well, drones off gas. That's like an I want fast link speed.
That is very
Ooh,
I want
he might
fast
be going
link
a
speed.
4 roach rush. I've never seen this before, but I've heard about it. There's
Four
like this
roach
new
rush.
thing coming out. It's a 4 roach rush. Never mind, he started link speed. It makes it look exactly like you're doing link speed. The point is like you get 100 gas and then you pull off at 100 gas, and your opponent scouts it and scouts the link speed build, prepares for Zerglings, and then you do a 4 roach Zergling speed or 4 roach Zergling build with a fast expand, and it's supposedly crazy good. I don't know.
That's interesting. I've yet to see that build, but you're a lot more up to date on your build orders and metagamey stuff. So we do have a decent little wall off here by WhiteRa doing a strange build again. Pretty much the exact same build we saw against, I believe it was Zappa Dappa Doo Up Doo Wow earlier in the evening. Kind of interesting. I mean, there was the debate that he's a diamond player and that he's smurfing. I gotta kind of disagree based on what we saw in that first game.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh, I thought you said Zappa Dappa Doo Wow is the one that's
No,
Zappa Dappa.
There was some debate that WhiteRa was smurfing as a diamond player.
Yeah.
Based on the play we saw in the last game, despite still winning, he didn't win as a diamond player would have won that game. So.
Yeah, he's not winning like handily. He's not like not vulnerable at any given point. He's doing really basic builds, actually executing them a little bit roughly. Like he could definitely stand to improve from. Oh my god.
Is the car alarm distracting you?
Like I didn't notice it, and then someone pointed it out, and now I notice it. Now I notice it every time it goes off. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. WhiteRa needs to
Do
tighten
stuff.
up his builds a lot. He really needs to tighten up those builds because his play is pretty rough. He's getting like he's doing this four gate with he does this four gate with fast upgrades, but I really don't think you don't really benefit from upgrades that much in the early game because what you do see a four gate, a properly executed four gate. If you were around last night after the tournament, I showed who was that? Hellkite.
Hellkite. Yeah.
I showed Hellkite this one four gate where you power three gateways and they finish right as your warp gate tech finishes. And when you hit his base, it's like 6.5 minutes into the game, which means you have a strong army at 7 minutes. If you look now, you're usually hitting his base with an army similar to what WhiteRa has now, but like almost 2 minutes earlier. In fact, like almost exactly 2 minutes earlier. And WhiteRa has given up a lot of that early game, a lot of those numbers for the upgrades. And upgrades are good, but the thing about upgrades is they get more useful the more units you have because obviously, obviously late game the cost of a zealot and a sentry is not very big if you can give all your units plus one or plus two. But in the early game, one zealot and one sentry is pretty freaking huge.
Yeah, that can spell the difference between a win or a loss at this early, or maybe not at this late. But we're not, almost 10 minutes into this game. But a few minutes into the game, when he's dropping a forge and going for upgrades, that is a huge investment. I mean, I have seen some builds designed. I think even we saw them in the GSL season 4, where who was it that did kind of something like this? But here we go. We have an engagement. A lot of zealots need to get up front, doing nothing right now, kind of just dancing in the back. There we go, up front now. Some decent force fields cutting off the retreat of those zerglings. Gonna walk around now. This is a pretty large amount of roaches. It should be handled easily by what WhiteRa has right now. A lot of sentries, a lot of zealots up front to tank that damage, and a lot of stalkers in the back to deal a lot of damage. So we're gonna see if Blizzopticon can hold this off. Here we go. The the zealots running up, tanking a bunch of damage. Nice force fields trapping a bunch of roaches there to be killed. Zerglings on the way now. Not going to do a whole lot. Going to get chopped in half by those zealots. And this is actually going to push WhiteRa back. Albeit I think he can probably do a little bit more damage, especially with his proxy pylon. Able to warp in units right there for reinforcements. Kind of cutting off his own advance there with those force fields. Warping in a couple more zealots. Pretty zealot-heavy army, which is good. They do a ton of damage, take a ton of damage. Really, he just needs to push right now. He needs to just go and kill him. um,
Yeah, honestly, this is just the power of a four gate versus a fast
yeah,
expand.
yeah.
And honestly, if WhiteRa had executed this more smoothly, he'd have won like 3 minutes ago.
Alright, so we do have some force fields going in the back, gonna be cutting off any kind of retreat. A lot of these zealots gonna be tanking all this damage. These stalkers in the back doing so much damage, as well as the sentries getting some DPS in there as well. He will basically just walk through Blizzopticon's force here, and this looks like it is going to be a quick GG. Again, this is the power of a 4 warp gate. Gonna take out this, yeah, this is basically game right now. There's not a whole lot Blizzopticon can do.
Doing a little bit too much on one base. Try to get those roaches. He tried to get Zergling speed and roaches fairly quickly, and he paid for it dearly because he was trying to do that while expanding, and he just didn't have enough stuff. Oh, rage quit.
BlizzCon rage quits. No GG. That's okay.
Can you get the map choice for this one? I need to.
Sure. It does look like WhiteRa definitely cleaned up his play in that match. I'm gonna go see. Just make sure WhiteRa does not veto Metalopolis. I don't think he's going to. Oh, he might. Try and force a small map. Or he can't. There's Shikaris, there's Lost Temple, there's plenty of other stuff to pick. Sure thing, I'd rather see. Metalopolis. Metaroparisa.
Man, people need to stop talking about this. This WhiteRa dude is not a diamond player. He's really shaky.
I mean, sure, I'll give him. He had a much better timing in that game and everything, but not Diamond. Not Diamond.
Yeah, he is not. I mean, he's really like his play is so it's so weak early game. Rush would beat it. If you can hold his four gate, his late game uh, is disjointed. It's not very concise, planned out. It's definitely this is not diamond play.
All right, we're gonna go into game number 2. Yeah, a 4 gate. I mean, even gold and platinum people know how to 4 gate quite well. All right,
Yeah,
car
this guy.
alarm. You win this battle, but I will win the war.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. On Metalopolis, we have WhiteRa, the Pretty Purple Protoss. Of course, probably not the WhiteRa that most of you are familiar with, spawning at the 12 o'clock position, and here at the 7:30 o'clock-ish position, maybe 8 o'clock position, we have Blizzopticon, the green Zerg. This is close positions. I'm going to just go ahead and say WhiteRa is going to 4-gate to win. Or maybe we'll see a 7-roach rush out of Blizzopticon, which can do some damage. But it'll be interesting, because that 7-roach rush, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope you correct me, but it hits at a really good timing against Protoss when their production on
Yeah.
their warp gates are just about to start
If
kicking in.
it's what you do is as Protoss is you want to cut production right before your warp gate's finished because you don't want units producing when your warp gate tech is done because you want to be able to warp into warp gates immediately. And the 7 roach rush, if done just right, the roaches hit right as you're in that window where you started cutting production.
I learned things. I'm so proud of myself that I actually thought about that. Again, guys, I'm learning as a caster as these guys are learning to be better StarCraft players. I do not have quite as much time as I would like to play StarCraft because all my time is taken up by the ASC Weekly and work and such. Being a small business owner obviously takes up a lot of my time. Um, so, um, yeah, Zeltsum is definitely the much more knowledgeable person when it comes to stuff like that. But it's just really cool to be learning right along. I mean, we try and be educational in these casts, but it's just really cool that I've been learning so much as well. We are going to get a drone kill here. I don't know if that was worth it. Losing some mining time there was WhiteRa, but probably not going to affect the game too much. We do have that quick. I think that was a 14 hatch going down for Blizzopticon. Not really. Oh, we have a. Wow, WhiteRa, what the hell?
It looks like he's responding to the fast hatch with a fast Nexus. Nexus first build, not exactly super awesome. This
Forge.
fast.
He's
That
going
pool
guinea
coming
pig
down.
build or something here.
Well, if the forge goes down at the same time as the pool, you can have a forge and a cannon out before those links hit your base. It is pretty easy to execute.
Um, yeah, this will be interesting to see what he does. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, this kind of seems like a guinea pig build. Only I think he should have gotten that forge first, and got cannons up, and then expanded. Am I right?
But well, he gets the forge. It's a little bit safer. It doesn't make that big of a difference though.
Okay.
Uh, the big thing here is going to be about building placement because if he's not careful, then Zerglings can just run right past those cannons and do a crap ton of damage to the probe line. But the Nexus Forge build does get a cannon out before the links can get to your base, so it is a decent build, and I've seen it executed quite a lot. And the great thing about this build is actually that it's actually pretty easy to do. Like, it doesn't require any really specific timings. It's just if you see the pool, build a forge, and then build cannons. That's the build. That's really all it is. So it's very very good. It's a little bit of a defensive, responsive build, and it really does depend on your follow through. That's the big thing about this build. That's a little bit tricky, but with a decent follow through, this build can help you gain a lead.